Single fellas, are you looking for love in all the wrong places and struggling to find a date? Maybe you just live in the wrong state. Some states have more women than men, so let's look at the 10 states with the largest percentage of females according to the U.S. Census Bureau. Number 10, Tennessee. People have been flocking to Tennessee for the last few years. It's become one of the more popular states to move to for a few reasons. For one, they don't have an income tax, and that's really attractive to those coming from high-tax states. Tennessee also has a healthcare industry that draws workers from all over, and healthcare is a primarily female-driven field. When you think of a doctor, your mind might picture a man, because there are still more men than women in that role, but think about every other type of position in healthcare. Nurse, phlebotomist, medical coder and biller, registration, those are usually filled by women, which helps to explain why Tennessee's population is 51% female. Number 9, Massachusetts. According to an article by WBUR News, more women are in leadership roles in the top 100 Massachusetts companies than ever before. In another article by the same publication, they found that women are entering skilled trades at higher rates than anticipated. Women are moving into new roles all across the Bay State, so WalletHub has ranked Massachusetts as the best state for women to live. The state is 51.1% female, but some areas have an even higher percentage. Boston is 52.1% female, and the neighborhood with the largest number of women is Dorchester, with 60,369 females. Number 8, New York. The largest city in the state of New York is obviously New York City, and the city, particularly the borough of Manhattan, has skewed female for as long as they've been tracking the demographics of the residents. An article from 2011 quoted a sociologist named Mark Rigneris as saying that the reason that there were so many women in New York was because the TV show Sex and the City was so popular that women were moving there to fulfill their Carrie Bradshaw fantasies. That's right. Our pretty little heads are full of so much fluff that we'll move to another place just to be more like the people we see on television. Right. Mark might be an idiot. If you look at historical data, there were 88.5 men for every 100 women in 1990, which was long before Sarah Jessica Parker's show debuted on HBO, so his theory doesn't make much sense. One of the real reasons why there are more women is that they can earn more money there than in other places. According to an article from Syracuse.com in March 2022, young women in New York City have not only closed the gender pay gap, they're actually earning 2% more than their male colleagues. There are plenty of other reasons, but that's a pretty big one, and it helps explain why New York State's residents are 51.1% female. Number 7, North Carolina. There are 100 counties in North Carolina, and in 85 of those, women outnumber the men. Edgecombe County has the largest gap, with only 86 men to every 100 women. The 3 largest industries for the state are restaurants and food services, construction, and elementary and secondary schools. 2 out of the 3 industries tend to be skewed heavily in favor of women, historically speaking, so it makes sense that there would be more women in the workforce as well as in the state. North Carolina's females make up 51.1% of the state's population. Number 6, Georgia. In 2015, it was estimated that there were 80,000 more single women between the ages of 18 and 64 living in Atlanta than men. So straight guys, if you're looking for that special someone, maybe Hotlanta is the place for you. The state of Georgia overall has a population that is 51.2% female. Sadly though, according to statusofwomendata.org, they are more likely to live in poverty and earn low wages than men, with 18.3% of women in the state falling below the poverty line. Their projections, based on the current trends, show that women won't receive wage parity until the year 2055. Something else that stands out from their report, at least to me, is that only 50.8% of the women in Georgia vote. So ladies, if you want to change things, become more involved with deciding who runs your communities, and make your voices heard at the ballot box. Number 5, Maryland. According to Maryland's Department of Human Services, around 1/3 of women are employed in education and healthcare. Everyone needs an education and healthcare, so that's a lot of jobs being filled by women. Elementary and secondary schools is actually the 2nd largest industry. The 3rd largest industry in Maryland is restaurants and food services, many of which are low-paying jobs, with DHS saying that 60% of minimum wage employees in the state are women. So that's another sector dominated by the ladies. It's not all bad news in the Old Line State, though. According to an article in the Baltimore Sun, the economy, particularly government jobs, are more friendly to women and attract females from other areas for work. That could be true because females make up 50.3% of the state's population. Number 4, Michigan. In Michigan, the types of jobs that are female-dominated include healthcare support, personal care and service, office and administrative support, healthcare practitioners, education, community service, and food preparation and services. So if you have some sort of healthcare appointment, you take a class, or have a child enrolled in school, or go to a restaurant, most of the faces you encounter will be that of women, according to the Women in the Michigan Workforce Report released by the state. That might be because 51.3% of the state's population is made up of females. Number 3, Alabama. There are only 6 counties in the state of Alabama where there are more men than women. Overall, the state has 94 men for every 100 women, but in some counties it's even more pronounced, like Sumter County, where there are only 82 men for every 100 women. Coincidentally, that's also the poorest county in the state. The median household income is only $26,150, so maybe the women move to another part of the state. If you want to get ahead in life, that's definitely not the place to be. They're probably leaving for work. The second most common job in Alabama is registered nurse, and the third most common is cashier, which are both heavily female occupations. And the population in the state of Alabama is 51.4% female. Number 2, Delaware. The state of Delaware is known for being a banking and credit card company hub, and when you think about people in those roles, you might picture a man in a suit. The largest industry in the state is construction, and you probably imagine a man in a hard hat. However, there are more women in the state. In fact, women over the age of 40 outnumber men in Delaware to such a degree that they have to get creative if they're single and looking for dates. According to an article from Delaware Today, many women are venturing out to Philadelphia and New Jersey to find quality candidates. Others join singles groups through meetup sites, and some go to events through an organization called the Professional and Business Singles Network. This is because the population in Delaware is 51.4% female. Number 1, South Carolina. The second largest industry in South Carolina is elementary and secondary schools. Did you know that 81% of the teachers in South Carolina are female? In the field of nursing, the female-to-male ratio is 15-1, so that's where a large number of the women are, but South Carolina has a diverse economy. Some of the fields where they have more than the average number of employees include tire manufacturing, textiles, and construction, which are male-dominated fields. Those are also dangerous fields, which is part of why there are so many more women. In South Carolina, the population is 51.4% female, but every year there are more males born than females. Nationwide, there are 1,050 boys born for every 1,000 girls. There is a theory that says nature, realizing the boys will be reckless, makes sure that there are more males born. By the time they reach middle age, women outnumber men, and the gap widens every year after the age of 40. By the age of 65, 6 out of 10 people are women. Some of that is due to men being more likely to take on dangerous jobs and engaging in risky behavior like driving like maniacs, and some of it is due to more men dying from heart attack and stroke. Men are also more likely to die early from homicide or going to war. So now that we know where the women are, would you want to see a video on the male-dominated states? Let me know in the comments. I hope you liked this video. If so, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I remain stuck in the cornfield.